Sam's, let's go. No, I'm good, but I bet you wish it I would have a one night. Hello, everyone. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Miss Aleksandra Butusov, so stay tuned. It's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sam's, let's go. No, I'm good, but I bet you wish it I would have a one night. Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot that I'm not the type of girl that goes. Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot you wish it I would have a one night affair. Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I'm here with the lovely Miss Aleksandra Butusov. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I think I said it right. Did I say it right?
You did amazing.
Woo! Awesome. Well, tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
So I'm of course, mom of two wonderful boys. They just started school. I moved here from Poland about 20 some odd years ago. So US became my second home. That's where I spent majority of my adulthood.
Mm.
And I live now in Denver, Colorado. I explored California, Los Angeles for about 15 years. That was a super fun experience, but it was time to go somewhere quieter. And throughout my journey, I discovered the entrepreneurial spirit, and that's what I'm trying to follow now.
Okay, looks a lot of good stuff to talk about then. Look, we can talk
Yeah.
about Poland. We can talk about your move. Being a boy mom, I'm also a boy mom. I have one
Oh,
son, so you have two. I mean, he just started school with
yes,
me, so it's a whole journey that I'm on as well. So really cool. Lots of
absolutely.
good things to talk about. I know that actually I heard recently there's some crazy stuff going on in Colorado. Hopefully that's not affecting you, or are you familiar with some of the stuff happening?
To be honest with you, I'm trying to stay off news. There's just too much drama, too much negativity. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we're safe. We're good. We haven't had any disasters, so we're
Good.
lucky.
Yes, yes. So I'm glad to hear that. Yes. So I mean, well, what made you come to good old US of A, you know?
Oh wow, so many things. We were planning as I was growing up. My uncle moved to he lived in Los Angeles, and I guess it was always a dream of my dad's to move as an entire family.
Mm,
As you probably know, the economy, especially 20, 30, 40 years ago, was terrible. We just became independent in the 90s, so it was a huge change for the country. We were building as a democratic country. So my dad decided to take the leap of faith. He moved to LA and was preparing the way for us, for
mm,
the rest of the family to come through. As we all know, the immigration law is not very easy, but we were able to find a way. But in the meantime, when he was going through the entire process, my mom got sick and passed away when I was 10. So he would have been left with three girls in Los Angeles. I mean, imagine coming from a Roman Catholic country into Los Angeles when anything and everything happened. So I think it was an amazing decision of my dad not to bring us to
mm.
this crazy world and leave us behind where we're safe. We have family, we have the support. So, but in the whole process, he was still able to make a way for us to move here. And I was the only one, the youngest, the wildest child that decided to move to Los Angeles after I graduated college.
Wow, no my wow. I'm definitely sorry to hear about your mom and everything like that. I mean,
Thank you.
terrible when you say you were 10. I can't even imagine. You know, my story is that, my dad passed before I was born, but I didn't have the, luxury, right, of knowing him and things of that nature. And so I can't imagine again you having your mom for the 10 years and losing her and things like that. So definitely, feel for you and your family and your father, So, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything you want to share with us in regards to that? And now that you're a
I
new
think,
mom.
to be honest with you, because you're a person of faith too, I think, as hard as it is, and I'm very sorry for your loss too, but God just has a special way of bringing us into these very uncomfortable and challenging places. And
Mm,
from the standpoint that we are now, would we be the people that we are? Would we have the heart on us if it wasn't for the challenging experiences?
hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I reflect on that a lot as well. Um, again, I only can go off of people's memories of him and things of that nature. But I mean, it hasn't affected. You can't help but wonder, like, what if, and that type of thing.
Absolutely.
But like you said, I mean, it makes an impact on who you are and where you come, where you go, and all that type of stuff as well. So, things happen for a reason, as they say. Maybe
Yes,
we'll
yes.
understand it better by and by, as they say, right? So.
Exactly.
Oh man, I know there's so many things to ask in regards to that because man, you were just talking about like the situation with your family, and I know that this is probably a hot topic. So if you don't want to talk about it, I totally understand. But you mentioned how your father had to, obviously go through this process, right, to come and everything like that. And I know you're probably familiar about all the things that's happening right now. Like, do you have any,
Absolutely.
thoughts and whatnot as somebody that seems like, and I don't know y'all situation, so don't call it out if
Okay.
it's not what I think it is. But it seems as if your father came legally, made a way for y'all, all this type of stuff, went through whatever hoops it was to get it, whatever citizenships. What it sounds like that's what he did, and so. How do you feel about like the things that are going? I know you kind of removed from the news a little bit or whatever. But I mean, if
Right.
you do know anything about it, or if you do have any feelings about it, I would love to hear, a.
I think, it's a very difficult decision. I think us as humans should, we're people of opportunity. I think if there's someone that wants to move here, wants to have the opportunity, wants to make this world better, America was built on immigration, right? It's
Mhm,
like there's so many people that moved here that built this country. I think if there's an opportunity, or if the opportunity was created, why not do it the legal way? Give them the chance to grow, to better the
mhm,
country, to better themselves. We're all looking for opportunities. We all want to have better lives, right?
mhm,
Coming from a country that was not as great of an economy, not as great of opportunities,
mhm,
I think it would be just fair to give that to people.
mhm,
Um, you still have to work very hard in order to get where you want to be. Nothing is easy. But I think allowing people to do that, creating the path for them, allowing them to go through paperwork a lot easier. I have so many stories because I'm from Poland. I have many, many Polish friends that struggled so much with the legalities of it. They had to really go through major hoops in order to be where they are.
mhm,
But I think if we had a way to help others, I think it would make it a lot easier. Not that I don't believe in crossing illegally to give people very hard time. um, I always try to come from a standpoint, what would I do if I were in their shoes?
mhm,
If I didn't have a roof over my head, if I didn't have anything to eat, would I do everything in my power to get to a place where there is a promised land? Yes, absolutely.
mhm,
But then not everybody can do that. Not everybody should do it. But I think it's always the opportunities are around us. We just have to explore what they are.
mhm. I mean, again, yeah. I'm sure it's a multifaceted conversation and everything like that. I'm definitely with you in regards to again, people coming legally and things of that nature, especially when people such as yourself, it seems like, and again, your father and people, people that are actually doing that and taking the time and going through the hoops, and so I just feel like that's not fair to y'all, and other immigrants and people that come and they do it legally, and then we're hearing about all the crazy things that are going on right now. But anyway, I don't. It
It's
seems like
always
you
a
said
fun
what else
topic,
not
right?
directly affected, So I know that's a deep
It's always a
conversation.
sore subject because yeah, it's tough. And but to me, I was like, being a person of faith, everybody wants a better life.
Hmm.
Everybody wants it, and I think it's just giving them the chance to do
Yeah.
it.
Indeed, indeed. So then you came here. You said you were the only one out of your siblings and whatnot to look, take the risk and whatnot. Look, maybe we, I always felt like the one in the prodigal son that was going to leave. Not that I wanted to, you know, be rebellious or anything like that, but I always knew that I was going to be the one to leave or going to be the one to like do that risky thing or whatever the case may be. And so it seems like you had a little bit of that in you and whatnot as well. It seems like we can relate and things. So what would you say that made you go ahead and make that decision to come and instead of staying in the safety net of home and all the things maybe that you were used to?
I think it's just the again the land of opportunity. The grass is always greener on the other side. Everything seems, you hear wonderful stories.
Mm,
Everything is easy, but that's not the case. But what I was drawn to is really becoming independent,
mm,
growing something and working towards something that's worthwhile. In my country at that point, I when I was leaving, we had over 20% of unemployment. You
mm,
got a nice job, very simple, very hard job usually because finances are still, I would say, majority of the time are hard in the smaller towns, smaller countries, and villages. People don't have as much opportunity here. I had essentially a ticket, right, just to buy and move. So I took that. I decided that I'm going to take the faith into my own hands and create the opportunities so I don't have to struggle like the rest of the country did at that time.
mm. I understand that. I totally understand. So have you been back since, or you like I left and never looked back?
No, so my entire family is there. So I since I moved, I essentially was able to I was lucky to go almost every year to visit my family. Both of my sisters are there. They have their families now. So it was great. And then once I met my husband's an American. He loved going to my sister's wedding. He said, "No way! Once we get married, it's like we're having the Polish blast wedding," and that's what we did. So we
Oh.
went back and we got married in Poland. It was a beautiful ceremony. Then we were able to have a reception in a castle from 17th century. It was just
Hmm.
everything there is, it still stands still. Such beautiful history and buildings. It was incredible and an incredible experience.
Oh, sounds sweet, man. That's the one thing your girl needs to still try. I got to get a
Right?
passport. I got to get overseas. I got to see some of these amazing historic places. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it sounds really, really cool. Well, hopefully one of these old days, maybe Poland to make one of my bucket lists or something like that.
Right?
I see.
Absolutely.
So not only did you take a leap of faith, brand new country, marriage, all kinds of good stuff is happening in between the time we're talking about. But obviously you mentioned being an entrepreneur as well, which is another thing, I can relate to and appreciate because I mean, I thought that for some reason, I guess I thought that maybe the entrepreneurial spirit was kind of in everybody, but then I'm learning it's not. And stuff.
Yes.
And so when I do again, have like-minded people that we have conversations, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like I don't feel so crazy anymore. Like you get it. But yeah, so tell us about this entrepreneurial journey and like, what are you doing and what's going on?
Yeah, so it's such a I think special character that it takes that you always want to explore something new. You want to check out new things. You want to see what's out there, what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
My journey started when I became a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I realized how much I'm not able to do a 9 to 5. If I want to be a family person, if I want to be there for my kids, I want to be present,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be very difficult to hold it. You have so many days off of school, you have so many holidays. None of the employers will give you that kind of flexibility that you need as a parent. If you want to be the parent that you want to be, you have to be there for your children.
Mm-hmm.
So I started realizing, with one child, it was somewhat easier. We could always switch, take turns, right? I was able, I mean, once I gave birth, I think 4 months later, we had a COVID season. We were all stuck at home. We were so isolated. And that's when it all started, like now looking back, that's when it all started forming that not only that the jobs are moving remote, our life is moving remote, but it isolated us.
Mm.
You go through such a identity crisis, I think, when you become a parent, because it's a life that you've never knew, you never explored. Your circle of friends change, your
Mm.
priorities change, your timing where you can go out and do something for yourself or with your family, everything changes, and you have to find
Mhm.
yourself again. And that's when the whole idea of having a mom support group started forming. It's
Mm.
like, what a beautiful way to come together. We're all isolated. We're on lockdown. We can't reach each other. We can't even be outside on the playground because it was all shut down. I was like, would it be beautiful to come together to share these struggles, especially new moms? You're still trying
Mm.
to figure out what you are. You're trying to survive, and then you're separated. You're secluded from the entire world
Mm.
because of the situation and because you just became a parent. And throughout this whole process, I started thinking, well, how can I support moms? How can I support kids? And I came across open-ended toys.
Mm.
To me, it became natural to be screen-free family. We decided there's two of us to one child. We can take the turns. We can be with our son. We don't have to rely on screens. I started reading a little bit more into it, how exposing a child before the age of 2 to screens can decrease their vocabulary by 20%. To
Mm.
me, if you're not a genius, that's a lot of vocabulary that these kids can miss out on.
Mm.
So to me, to us, it became natural to start living that way. And then I thought about, it's like, well, there's probably other moms that would like to minimize at least the screen usage. And as I went on, I started researching more into it, and it really became apparent. Now we're having all this the research that's coming, how dangerous it can be for our children, how teenage girls are committing suicides more and more. And it's because we're starting to rely on screens, on technology. Instead of using it as a tool, we're more relying on it, and we're becoming addicted to it, and we're disconnecting.
Mm.
And that really started to hit home. And throughout this whole process of thinking about support communities for moms, to bring them together, to think about something greater for our children. Every mom, every dad wants the best for their children and create the safest and best environment for them.
Mm.
Why not create an environment where we can be together? And that's where the idea of open-ended toys came into play. I have a really cute story where my son, I was expecting my second son. I was so big, I couldn't move. I was just one of those women that didn't have pleasant pregnancies or easy ones.
Mm.
But it meant so much to him that we spent time together as a family interacting. He would
Mm.
take a pillow off the couch, put it on the ground right next to the couch so I can sit down, so I can be a little more comfortable. He would bring his cars and his toys so we can just share that experience,
Mm.
just do whatever we wanted to do with the toys. And that's how I started thinking. I was like, well, they really don't need much, right?
Mm.
We just create them an environment, safe environment. We provide them just the tools, basic tools, so we can spark their imagination.
Mm.
So the creativity is there, they can start tapping into it. And that's where the whole idea of creating open-ended toys came into play. Not only to help the moms, we know how busy it is. We come home and we have a million tasks to complete, but we also don't want to push away our kids. We
Mm.
also realize how important it is that they're engaged, they're stimulated. And that's where I thought, I was like, creating products that could support moms with it, support kids, and give us enough time to care for the family. But also, when you're done, you can sit down and you actually can start interacting with children. So bringing that togetherness as part of the movement, really, because now it looks like this balancing screens or being aware of the dangers of the screen. It really just connecting the families back together.
Mm. Oh man, look, another one of those good old 2020 shakeups, huh?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's so funny. It feels like again we have a lot of things that was happening in common as well. It basically around that time I was basically a new mom as well. Had our son in 2018, and I think God was already kind of putting me in this position of pretty much what happened of kind of switching my routine because obviously I'm a new mom now, and so the gigs that I was doing and all that type of stuff. I appreciate that they were like very accommodating and like considerate of okay, she just gave birth, let's have her do this type of job now, that type of thing. But at some point I did find myself more so at home, and this is like before COVID, right? So I was already
Yeah.
trying to think like, okay, well, I have my business, so how can I get my business going a little bit more, so then that way, because I understand this other job, they might not be able to let me come on, and you know what I mean, and with my baby. But if I do my shows or if I do my business, whatever case may be, then I can have my son in the back because it's my business. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody gotta, ain't nobody gonna
Yes.
tell me you can't bring your son or that type of thing.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so I was already like trying to figure that part out. And, there was a lot of stuff going on in 2019. I felt like the way people felt about 2020, I was feeling about 2019 because it was like, it was ups, it was downs. It was like, what's going on? On one hand, I feel like I'm doing exactly what God asked me to do. But then on the other hand, I feel like, Lord, you told me to do this, but what's happening? It ain't going the way I thought it was going to go. And it just was a lot of that. But he just kept things going and flowing and keeping me in a position to where it didn't make sense in 2019, but once 2020 came around, everything started to make way more sense. Like basically seeds that were planted in 2019 were flourishing in 2020 once we got shut down. I was like, I see now, it makes sense. Like, oh,
Yes.
but
Yes.
and I get it that it wasn't the best time for a lot of people, but there's been a lot of people on this platform. I mean, this platform was one of the things that came out of 2020. Me being finally having nothing else and being like, and God being like, so you're gonna finally do that GSL thing? I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to do it, but this didn't come through. I thought I was gonna do it this way, all that type of stuff. And lo and behold, here we are today, 4 years later and stuff,
Right.
and having this right on time conversation once again. Because even with that being said, there's just so many different things that has happened for me, right, in our household and stuff. Like again, my son just started kindergarten this year. We're doing it in more of a homeschool fashion. It's like a virtual public school situation, which I had
Mhm.
no clue about until we, was
That
really
it
looking into it and
existed.
stuff. But
Yes.
I just love that there's just so many options and different ways to do stuff. And even so far where like, I'm not worried about my kids socially. Like well, one, we go to church a lot, and and I work there as part time as well. So which is a recent development. Look, thank God for 2020. Um, but anyway, so so I don't worry about him socially because he's always so like if he was in here right now, he'd be sitting here talking to you. That's he makes friends everywhere. Um, but at the same time, I'm concerned because I'm like it's different. It's not what I'm used to. It's
Yes.
not what me or my husband experienced. But I love that we're able to do it, and I've been thinking God like every day about it because it's like even today. I mean, I don't know if you've heard this, but I just saw recently been a shooting in Georgia at a high school, and I'm like, I know my son's in kindergarten, we're not in that area and stuff, but still, like with all the crazy things going on in this world right now, it's great to have alternatives, like you said, in safe environments and
Yes.
whatnot. So I love everything you're saying. Like I love, that you're, coming up with alternatives to the screen. Like, there's times we try to manage it with our little guy, get him to ask,
Yes.
all that
Yes.
type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would love to like let tell us more about these toys. Like what's going on?
So like you're saying, I was like, we're turning into an alternative. We're trying to have safer measures. And my part in it is not to create judgment, not to create shaming over screens. I think screens are great, but when we can use them as a tool opposed to
Hmm.
our everyday life. I
Yeah.
think the more I think about it, it's like I had a great meeting with another mom too that's concerned about screens. Everywhere we go, they are there. They're definitely going to be a part of it. But to me, it's more of bringing awareness,
Hmm.
educating other parents, what's out there, what's not. We are all time low as far as connection in between parents and children. We're so disconnected from one another,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, creating that environment, or just awareness to the parents. Let's think about it. Let's reflect on what we're doing. Is that the
Mm-hmm.
best way? Is there anything that we can do for our children, not to rely on their peers, but be with us and look
Mm-hmm.
up to us as parents? Of course, at some point, there's going to be a way that the peers will be more important, the conversations will be more engaging than with parents. But that's essentially it, it's building that foundation,
Mm-hmm.
bringing that connection back. And what makes me sad is that I grew up in an old school way where there was no screens. We did not have that danger. We didn't have to think about it. You went to a
Mm-hmm.
doctor's office, and in a waiting room, you had conversations. You were creating
Mm-hmm.
conversations. You
Mm-hmm.
would go to the airport, same thing happened. If somebody was traveling overseas, they were not comfortable. It's like, hey, I can help you. You were just engaging with people. And
Mm-hmm.
now think about it. It's like you go to these places and you look around and everybody is glued to a screen. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it starts with us. Um, we are the parents, we are building the foundation. We just have to show them the way to communicate. Like you said, I was like, your son is very social, but it's so easy to be influenced by screens. There's a
Mm-hmm.
really cute animation video where it shows you like how the screens, how the phone is pulling away a child from nature, from play, from other kids. And
Mm-hmm.
I think for us as parents is being able to create that environment again where they can socialize, they can be together, they can learn off of each other's mimics, just
Mm-hmm.
to us essential things. But we, of course, we lived, even though it was 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have these dangers. So with the toys, what I wanted to do is like not only that we can interact with one another, but creating them a great way of exploring their imagination. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
accountant by trade, so I always sit behind computer, behind keyboard. I don't use my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm tapping into my creative ways of creating these products that could support not only moms but children, it's such a fun way tapping into your own creativity as
Mm-hmm.
we really don't get to do that much. So one of the first products that I will be releasing hopefully soon here in maybe 10, 12 weeks
Mm-hmm.
is a magnetic whiteboard. It's 32 inches wide by 48 inches tall, so it can definitely grow with your child. But not
Mm-hmm.
only you can use it as a whiteboard, so you can play school, you can play writing, you can practice math or handwriting,
Mm-hmm.
but also you can use your magnetic toys.
Mm-hmm.
My boys love the magnetic tiles. They love anything, so they can create not only shapes on it, they can create different letters, numbers, structures. It's such a fun way of really tapping into what they're interested in, what they love. And the beauty of it is that it's self-adhesive, so you can put it up just above your footboard, put it on the wall, and it just stays there. It's got a beautiful shape, beautiful colors, so you don't feel like you're overwhelmed with toys. You can
Mm-hmm.
easily put it in a space where, a living room, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a toy room or a playroom. And it looks great, it looks elegant, but yet it still has such a great purpose and endless possibilities for creativity.
Nice. Look at you. So is this a collaboration between you and your husband, or is this just you and your business
I,
yourself,
I
or?
honestly, the accountant mind of mine, I guess it was so shut down for so so long. Once I sparked into it and watched what kids like to play with, it's not the gadgets that are all in one. They'll play
Mm,
with it for 5 minutes, but if they can create something out of it, they're at hours, at play with it. So
mm,
that's how I thought. I was like, just thinking about it. You're an entrepreneur. You create, you have ideas, so you put them on the
mm,
whiteboard. You
mm,
can just have a mini whiteboard version next to it, and you guys can be together, even though you're creating your business.
mm.
He's essentially creating play and mimicking playing an entrepreneur.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, so you've gotten the testing. I'm sure your sons is testing things out for you, making sure everything's good.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're in the phase of actually doing a child safety testing as well before I can release it. So we make sure that it's safe, that it's
Mm,
good, that it's not non-toxic, and as soon as we get the green light, we're going on Amazon, going on Shopify, and hopefully we can reach the market before Christmas. I think it would be such a fun way of engaging, and it's like we sometimes we have to teach the kids to be creative again. We got
mm.
to give them some downtime and some quiet time, and then that's when the magic starts happening.
That is so true. That one of the things I love about, I guess, just being a mom, or about my son in particular, just hearing him playing. Hearing him, take something and he's making something, or hearing him just singing, different things like that.
Yes.
Where again, when he might come and be like, "Oh, can I watch TV?" and we're like, "No, go find something else to do," that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, he's having those little moments with the action figure, or you hear him
Yes.
playing and things, and I'm
Yes.
like, this is great. So I get it, man. Yes, we definitely need to, open up their imagination, allow them to create. I mean, obviously we see where your creativity has led you to
Yeah.
today. And you
Exactly.
just never know. We're budding, especially at the young ages, right? It's kind of, getting them to probably tap into whatever their skills and gifts and God-given talents are. So yeah, man, that's
And to
exciting.
me, it's like it also gives them a space to explore what they like. It's like
Mm-hmm.
how we can, it's like if we're watching, like my son is completely into cars, everything is about vehicles. But even knowing then that I can take him to a transportation museum, I can take him to a car show. It's like knowing like even what he's really interested in and
Mm-hmm.
following into that passion so he can explore it further. I mean, just think about it a second. If you can create something out of it, right? If that's what really your passion are, it's like then sky's your limit for what you want to do, what you want to explore in the future as a young child. It's like we're all talking about having creative children, about having the imagination. But now that my kids are growing, every parent is talking about sports, but thinking about it, it's like you're just going from one practice to another. Their time is structured 24/7. Everything
Mm-hmm.
has to be on time. When do we give them the time to be bored, the downtime, the
Mm-hmm.
quiet time?
Mm-hmm.
And, us being entrepreneurs, we're always talking about good leaders, or, we're talking about followers. How are they supposed to become leaders if their entire time is structured?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Um, well, I mean, I'm excited about all the things you're talking about and things. I mean, I'm sure you have other ideas. They're probably top secret and hush hush. You probably don't want to tell us like what the next product is, but um, I mean, I would love if you want to give us like a little sneak peek at like maybe some ideas, like what should we look out for. I don't know if you want to give us where to find you, things of that nature. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the essential, I think the staple will be the magnetic whiteboard because you can create so much with it. And my follow-up products will be like some wooden blocks. I want to go as sustainable as possible. I want to
Mm,
create toys that will last for a long time, that we can have our children really tap into, create and just play with them for a long time.
yeah.
Thinking about like the early school ages where they're learning to read and write, they're learning math. So not only that I want to support that kind of like the
Mm,
Montessori style where we just give them something and they create
mm,
out of it. Also learning alphabet. So I'm thinking about, maybe wooden blocks, wooden magnets with letters, with
mm,
numbers where we can practice math, we can practice writing. Imagine if you could just had some templates that you receive. You buy a lot of toys, naturally as parents to support our children. What if we have a brand that will support you with templates? You come
mm,
home, you're so busy, you have so many options. But if you can pull out, let's say you get an email once or twice a week, you have templates to play. It's like, let's practice writing, let's
mm,
practice letters. And we just pull out this, we go to the board, we can put a magnet on it with some letters, with whatever it is we're working on at school, and we just get to practicing it.
Mm,
So
nice.
I have tons of ideas how to support at least the, the early education to get kids into this creative space, and not only that, but help the moms, help their
Mm,
busy plates. How great you would feel that your child is doing something great, something creative, exploring their nature, their creative side of it, and also learning at the same time while you can attend to your full plate.
exactly. I love it. So, is this something that you've already are you incorporating with your group that you were talking about, or you haven't released it to anyone yet? Nobody knows. Like,
So the product is going to be released in about 10 to 12 weeks,
mhm.
as soon as that goes online. But I created the support group for moms where I bring in experts of just different topics for the parents to support the younger ones, especially with
Mm,
toddlers.
mm,
Not only that we go through the identity crisis when we become moms, but also if you're looking into being in a safer or more of a screen balanced life, how great is it that you can have that space where you can come together as like-minded individuals. And that's where I really like to support moms. We just had a potty training specialist. We
mm,
had a therapist that's bringing kids out of ADHD, helping autistic children to do a special set of exercises to bring them out of dyslexia. So I'm trying to look for different experts, and we're looking into fitness, nutrition. So you can jump on. We're trying to have weekly calls, or we have an expert once a week. I mean, how great would it be that you can come home in the comfort of your house? You can just pop in for 30 minutes, learn something new, ask questions, and just feel that you're not only educating yourself, but you're helping your family thrive.
that is awesome. I mean, look, sounds like Proverbs 31 woman around here. Got your entrepreneur endeavors going. Sounds like things are good at the house. It sounds amazing, man. You have anything that you would like
Absolutely.
to add? Like, feel free at this point to share, like, whatever you would like. Anything that you would like, oh, I want to actually come on here and share about this, or, if you want people to, reach your group or you or things of that nature, feel free.
Absolutely. Well, it's like my mission, and I would love to create more out of it, is helping to support moms. We're so busy, we're so isolated already as parents, and we have all these extracurriculars that we're driving to. I wanted to create that space for the moms to come together. So we have a private Facebook group that's called Moms Meadow, and the brand of toys that's going to be released here soon is called BunnyMae. We are present on Instagram and on Facebook, but I would love to invite you in if there's any topics you'd like to cover. I would love to see you and see what we can create together. Right? I was like, we're there together. We're creating this safe space. And we can just come together, share our experiences, our wins, our struggles. As I think, as moms, the parenting journey that we're going through, all these different changes, I think it's a wonderful way to share that, and to be with like-minded moms, and having different experts to educate you, to bring you some peace and comfort.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you today. I feel free to share your social media and whatnot as well if you want people to go there. And yeah.
Absolutely. So Facebook group is called Moms Meadow. BunnyMae Toys is BUNNYMAE Toys. We're on Instagram, and I also share I'll send you the link to our landing page to sign up to receive all the latest news of when we're launching. So I'd love
Awesome.
to see you. And again, I was like, if there's any workshops you guys would like to hear or look into, especially as far as a screen balance goes, I would love to be able to have you in and share that expertise and experience with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Miss Alex.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Wishing I would have a one night affair.
you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Miss Alex for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Miss Alex's games and the rest of her endeavors. Have a good night.